Hello everyone, welcome to my, I think, 22nd live stream. Today the weather is great and today my plan is to finish the Rust query modules series. Hopefully, I'll try to do some last polishing and yes, showcase how to actually use the Rust query modules wrapper to build some kind of a query module. Hopefully that's going to be interesting. Yeah, probably I'm going to do some polishing later on, and I already published the crate on crate.io, but yeah, there is always some kind of polishing, and yeah, I'll also build the documentation and showcase that a bit. And yeah, that's basically it. It took me a lot of time to actually build these things, but yeah, I'll talk a bit about that a bit more later. And yeah, as always, please like, share, subscribe, and yeah, post any comments and questions and suggestions, since yeah, we are all learning as always, and that should be like that always. And yeah, this time I'll try. I don't know how long it will take, probably between 1 hour and 2 hours. It depends on the first part, how fast I can get the first part up and running, because I actually not sure how long it will take. And yeah, let's get started. I'll just switch to my code view pretty quick. Yeah, maybe a little bit of introduction, since but yeah, I'll try to skip this intro part, since I don't know. I did some work in between, but I'm not sure where exactly I started and stopped. I'll explain that on the fly. Basically, a couple of things we have to do here. So I'll try to go here first. So basically, in the meantime, we just here in the Memgraph module, we just return these pointers to the stuff that Memgraph is giving to the module, but that's not very useful, because try to make this a bit bigger. Maybe that's a bit too big. Yeah. So here here we actually implement a function that returns the arguments that Memgraph, that a caller of a procedure gave to the module. Here we have to make a copy because yeah, here we don't have to make copy necessarily, but because of the way how we implement stuff, the easiest way here is to make the copy of that list. But yeah, I'll try to optimize that later on. It's not required to make the copy immediately. But yeah, once these arguments are returned, then they can be used within the query module. For example, one use case would be to match a node in a graph and then pass that node to the procedure to do something. For example, I don't know, some kind of a traversal or some kind of an algorithm, maybe something on the machine learning side with graph embeddings or with node embeddings or something similar. Anyway, but that's not enough. We have to actually register stuff. So here, let's go at the end. So in the C API, we have these functions to register arguments. And we didn't make wrappers for these. So we have a wrapper for this. We actually register a new read procedure, but we also have to register arguments. So whenever there is a call module.procedure, then you have to register which arguments and which types of these arguments user will pass. So we have to call this, and also there is an option to add optional arguments with default value. That's also interesting. Yeah, so let me just check. So we have to add, we have to call this procedure. The order of argument of adding arguments will correspond to the order of procedure. Procedure must receive them through open Cypher. Yeah, so we have to make that in order, and we have required and optional arguments. Name must be a valid identifier follow with the same rules as the procedure name. Okay. In MGP module add read procedure. Okay. And we have a type. Yeah. Okay. Okay. So we have to make the call this and then optional argument. The same. We have that order. Default value is copied and set as a default value for the argument. Don't forget to call MGP value destroy when you are done with default value. Okay, so we need to create these values. We need MGP value to create that, and because it has to be destroyed. So yeah, but yeah, we will just pass our reference to MGP value, and that's gonna be okay here. It's not allowed to pass node relationship path and must safety to given satisfy the given type. Okay, so we can't use node relationship and path, but we can use map list and every other node. So this will be some kind of a runtime check to verify that we did not add node relationship or path, and then the same is here. Okay. Okay, so we just have to expose adding these arguments into the while we are adding a new procedure, and we did that last time by, so we have this add read procedure method, which is okay, but once we add the procedure, we get a pointer to that procedure. So, and we need to pass that pointer here. Yep. Yeah, that's kind of tricky because we have to do that kind of at the same time. Okay. Because we don't return that procedure later on. Okay. And we'll also have to we'll also have to isolate this part. Let's make a break here. We have to isolate this part out because we also need to make that resolution of types somehow. So that's fine. But yeah, do we do that inside that read procedure, or we make another? This kind of makes sense to do. In the same. Yeah. I'll just make another argument here. Add another argument here, which is input types. So we have a result field type. We have field type and result field type. We kind of need the same structure here. I'll just rename this into the named field type because that has a name and the field type, and obviously we have an array here again because we need we can make a type which is a composition of different types. So we need that. Let's rename this. I used to pass expected result field types. Expected used to pass expected type during procedure registration. Both input and result types. Okay. Okay, I'll update that a bit later. Let's just get this working. Okay. But here we need to a result field type, no result field type, named field type. So required input types, optional types. So we can do kind of the same. So named field type. Okay, great. But the requirement here is that we need we should not pass but why not? Just a second, I just don't understand now. Optional types could not be optional types cannot be nodes, relationships and paths, but required arguments can be these things. Okay. All right. Maybe required input types, result fields, result field types. Okay. Result field types makes sense. Yeah. Now I would have to kind of copy paste all of this, but that doesn't make sense. So this is actually something which is gonna be reused a couple of times. So I'll just make a private function here. Do I need a field type? Field type. That's field. Field type is also a bit wrong name, but yeah. Anyway. La 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 la. Okay. I'll just make here another method. So which is not public. Resolve MGP type. Type named type, named field type, returning, that's gonna return MGP type. Okay, great. Now I need the inner for loop, because okay, MGP type. MGP type is the return value here. All right, what do we have here? Name type. Name type types iter reverse. We return that. The problem is that we have a const MGP type, but that's easy to solve because we can just return const type and that's fine. FFI, I think the only problem is unsafe code here. Okay, what's the problem now? There is, okay, that's gonna work. Resolve MGP type. Okay, that's fine, and we just have to use that. So rather than having this, let MGP resolve MGP type, and we pass a result field. Great, and we can delete all these, and now we have registration of result fields. That's great, but we have to do the same for required input types and optional types. So for required input in required input types, yeah, we need that MGP type. Required input, yep. And if FFI MGP prots add argument, what does it take? Add argument prots name and type. Yeah, so procedure required input dot name dot as ptr MGP type equals 0. If that's 0, we have to return error MGP error add procedure parameter type error. So add procedure parameter type error. Yeah, I have to make all these messages aligned, but for now I'll just add procedure what did I add? Add procedure input unable to add input parameter. Okay, the required okay, and now unable to add optional. With the snafu library, I can add the context here. But yeah, I'll do that a bit later so that we know exactly which parameter. That's actually a good feature again here, so that we know exactly which parameter doesn't work. Add procedure required optional input parameter. Yep. Optional input parameter. Yes, that's fine. So here, add procedure required input parameter error. So that's kind of problem here. Okay, we don't have constraints here. But yeah, we have to repeat that here, required optional. Required field types. No. Yeah, I made the same mistake. Required input types. Yep. Required input types. Required type. Required type name should be type. Yep, that's fine. And then optional input types. Yep. Optional input dot name as ptr required optional input parameter error. Yep. Good. So optional required input parameter error, optional input parameter error, and add procedure parameter type error. Okay. Now we have these three, which is great. Now we have to actually use this. So if I compile, I think this should fly, but okay, no, because we actually have a test for this, which is great. I've tested all these things. I'll just pass an empty array here and another empty array for these input parameters for now. This should fly. So I just pass empty input types, required and optional input types, because yeah, that's correct. This now the example will fail, which is fine. And now we're gonna make just a simple example. This is actually how the module should be used. So let's do the basic stuff. So in the basic thing, so required, what do we have here in the define? Define times type return me named. Yeah, great. This is great because I can just here define type. So I want to pass a list of a list of integer, let's say. Or let's say, okay, I'll just pass a string and then input. That's gonna be this, named the same field type string. So that procedure will take a string and return a string, and return values are optional. Arguments are empty, and we added that procedure. Then let's implement that procedure. So result, okay, let input string. So we have here the definition of that procedure. Memgraph dot args. That will give me all the arguments in a list at 0. What? I didn't have. Oh, whoa! I didn't implement at method. Value at. Sorry. I know that I have that value at index 0. Okay. So value at index 0. That will give me the result, and I will unpack that. Here I'm gonna have the value. Yep. And value insert input string. Yes. And the value of that, I have to create MGP value out of that. So I'll just delete all this. So input string dot MGP value. Nope. Haha, we actually have. No, that's another. So we need 2 MGP value. We have to create that. Okay. So value at 2 MGP value. Okay, that's gonna return me result MGP value and my insert string. I actually need the string. Since I have the MGP value, I'll just insert MGP value and then Memgraph will complain. Insert MGP value. This should be now the correct code if I'm not wrong. Nope, expect 1 argument to MGP value. This needs Memgraph. So I have to add this stuff here. Alright, now we have the compiled version of that. Okay, yeah, and we can run this. Memgraph. Oh, don't have Memgraph here when running, so I'll have to do that. Run user minus L Memgraph. Oh, this is a bit boring part. Use user lib Memgraph. Does this work? Okay. Sudo. Equals what? Workspace code. Workspace mage rasters mgpx sample target debug. Just to see if we have these procedures. Yes, so we have the basic procedure that has, yeah, okay, this is actually successful because we have input string and input string anyway, the same input and output value. So I should be able, if I run here, call this, I'll rename this big procedure names. So I need a string, for example, test, yield me everything. Haha, great, we have input string and we received whatever we send there. Test, great. We have that is working, and what's gonna happen if I do like 1? That should fail. Yeah, so we have the wrong input type here, which is amazing, which is exactly what we want. Boom. Okay, great. That's about it. On the input side, let's just test these optional stuff. So if I add define type, let's say that I want input int, field type int, like integer should be optional here. And yeah, makes sense. If I compile this, that should work. On the Memgraph lab side, I should reload that. Hopefully this is now reloaded. If I call procedure again, yes, I have input integer, but that should be actually optional. If I run test, exactly. No. This is something wrong. Let's go back here and it seems that yeah, I know I made a wrong implementation here because copy pasting is generally not super safe. I sometimes is useful, but I wouldn't say it's super safe to do that. Okay, procedure optional argument, yeah. We need to register optional argument. What type default value? Ooh. Aha, we need to provide default values as well. This is not great now because we need to provide the default value, but we are using the same data structure to pass that information in. So we have that named field type. For the sake of progress, let's just MGP value. Yeah, I won't be able to define this as a null, and I need that, so optional, I'm gonna create another struct here. Optional named field value. I have that. Define optional type. Define optional type. Optional named field value. name is not literal, name is expression. No name value. Define optional type, but default is like the because we need MGP value here. This should be fine now. But define optional type. MGP value make integer. We have the make integer. MGP value and all right, we have optional type. We are passing here MGP value. This is a bit messy. I have to figure out how to do that because I need an array here and this is kind of in the wrong order. I'll figure that out later on how to make that more optimal. But for now, let's say we are good. Hopefully, so we have the default value here. So we have registered this procedure. Let's just build that. We have to actually, so optional input types. No, we have optional input fields. Optional named field type. What? Sorry. Here we need type optional field, optional named. Optional named type, named field type, named type. Optional name type. I think I'm gonna just rename this into type. And that's it. Yeah. Types, okay. Type, I still need type. Type, named type, define type, named type, optional named type. Okay, we need that named type. which is great. Here, I hate this. Yeah, if anyone has a suggestion how to refresh Vim automatically after files get changed, I would be happy with that suggestion. Okay, we have the type here. Define type input string. Optional input int. Great. And here we take the first argument. Yes. Let's just add another type here. So output string, output int. Define type. Type int, yep. Good, and we take arguments. Let args equals memgraph args. Okay, and then let okay, output string, output string, and insert MGP value output int, output int. So that should be like 0. Output integer should be 0 if I don't provide one, and something else if I provide that value. Great. I still have the same value, and I have, yeah, that's all under now Memgraph implementation here. So we change this, so named field type, optional named field type, and named type. Boom. Yeah. I think these are much better names. And here, since we pass MGP value, we actually have a reference optional argument. There is last type, but we have optional input dot default. I need const pointer MGP value. Great. MGP value can I get the pointer here? mgpptr. Yes, mgpptr. So default dot mgpptr. That will give me the pointer, the underlying pointer to the default value. Let's try to compile that. That's good. We need to refactor this, but that's gonna be super simple. In Vim we can select in block and just do this. Amazing. So if I go back here, if I run this, yeah, not good, because we have the different, I forgot about that. I can send types is a reference. Yeah, so we just pass an array of types. This is actually better because we don't rely on the specific type. Yes, but then on the calling side, we have to put here types, which is, I think, fine, totally fine. Okay. Cannot find macro. Yeah, that's fine. We need to import that. Define optional type. Okay. Okay, great. This should now compile. Maybe the default name. All right, that works. And if we reload stuff, great. Procedures. We have the input string, optional input 0, integer, option int output string. Boom. Great. And then if I call this, I got output int 0, output string test test. If I add here 100, yes, amazing. So this is working now. Really great, really great. I really like this. Yeah, I'll have to polish these things a bit, but other than that, it works, which is great. We have one more method here, which is add deprecated result. Add a result field to a procedure and mark it as deprecated. These deprecated results are tricky. How to add that? That's maybe the reason why I shouldn't add them all at once, because then if I want to mark some of them as deprecated, but I can say that I can add a field which says that something is deprecated. And that's on the result side. Oh. Okay. I could add here define deprecated type. And that should solve the problem. Let's do that as well somehow. So only that could be deprecated. Let's add that as bool. Name type deprecated false. We add define deprecated. Sorry, this is spelled different. Really? This is correct. Deprecated false la la la. Define deprecated type. The same thing here, just this is going to be true. Optional things can't not be deprecated. Only results could be deprecated, but in any case we can just define this Okay, and yeah, we'll just add here define optional type, define optional value, la 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 la. If result field dot deprecated, yes, if result field deprecated, then we'll set do this. Okay, I'm adding deprecated results here, or not deprecated results. Why is that all marked as not okay? What? Ah, okay, that's about it. So I have that. I think we covered now. No, actually must abort. But that's easy. We just add that inside Memgraph and that's it. I think this is the last function we have to cover. And that's about it. Add optional add. So we did this. And I'll add transactional stuff as well here. Add required optional argument registration. That's done. Really good, really good. Yeah, I think we have just maybe a reflection on this. I think it makes sense to define all these procedures at once, all these types at once, because like read procedure, you define read procedure once and you good. If yeah, if user doesn't make sense to do something on the fly because you do that once, you don't change that dynamically, and you can define optional types and all these things. So you good on that end. I mean, I think this design here makes sense in general. Okay, add read procedure, but we also MGP must abort. So let me just read function. Sorry. Okay, returns non-zero if currently executing procedure should abort as soon as possible. Yeah, we just return that as integer and that's it. So here pub fn must abort. It takes graph, yes. Bool in this case. So unsafe Just a second. All right. Okay. Mm -mm. So no comments. Yeah. Okay. Feel free to ask anything. Okay. Return non-zero if the currently executing procedure should abort as soon as possible. Okay. Return non-zero. So if I got non-zero, I should return true here. So if fi must mgp must abort equals 0, actually, yeah, not equals 0, then it's true and that's it. But we have to self.graph ptr boom. Yeah, actually we don't need a reference here. Yep, that's I think it. Let's compile. This test might fail, yeah, because I didn't refactor Memgraph. I'm now jumping a bit, but yeah, this. Yeah, I will actually showcase documentation on this example, but anyway, this is also done. Okay. What did I want to do? I wanted to. Memgraph tests. Memgraph tests, yeah. Field type. I want to type field type. Yes. Great. Hopefully this is gonna fly. Yes. Amazing. Okay. Just a second. Okay. So these tests are good. This is good. And the unit tests should also be fine. Okay. Activate that end to end. What is the actual command to run these tests? Python path. Python path. Yeah, amazing. So my end-to-end tests are still passing, even though they have to be improved a lot, but that's fine. Okay. I think we covered now all this, so we have definitely have, yeah, how to test that we covered all the functions. So we covered these definitely. Then we have the procedure, add read procedure, we have that. We have the callback module, type nullable. I think we covered all the types. We have the vertices iterator, graph iterator, destroy vertex by ID. We have that edge iterator. Yeah, I think we really covered all the functions from the C API. Yeah, except this allocator stuff, but I'm gonna leave that for later on because it's too much for now. Okay. What else? We have the tests. We have the test build is passing, end-to-end tests are passing. Great. And maybe just to showcase. So since the last time I've added all these documentation stuff, and with Cargo, it's super nice to build that documentation by just running cargo doc -- open, and that will build documentation automatically. Yeah, here we have the actual documentation for these things. Yeah, we have to document these things now, but what did I wanted to show? Let's say Memgraph. We added the must board stuff. Here we have that function, but let's go back a bit. I have these field types. A lot of unresolved links, but it's very nice. That Rust is also, this is amazing thing about Rust. So the cargo is also notifies us about these types. So we linked these types from within the documentation, and we changed the names. And during documentation build time, cargo notifies us about like wrong references. So I'll just quickly fix that. Memgraph 156. Memgraph 156. Result field type. Now we have more. Okay. Result field types. Result field types. An array of field named defined by field. No, it's not field type, it's not field type, it's type. Result field types, and then we also have required input types and optional input types. Optional named types. Named types. This is required because of the default. Each one defined by a value, name, and an array of types. By name, by name, an array of types and value by name and an array of types optional input types required, yeah, result field types. Boom. Okay. Let's build the documentation again without opening. Yeah, rsmgp. That's all under rsmgp. That's here. Okay. Use the pass expected type during procedure registration, both input parameters and result types. Okay. Each procedure can have multiple returning fields. Each one is represented by this struct. Field type. Replace that with. Ooh. Yeah. So, yes. Okay. Amazing. And yeah. Let's open this now. And if we go under Memgraph, we have these optional named types. Yeah, we have name types MGP value. Yeah, we can click here and go around. We have type. Boom. Named types. We have used to pass expected type during procedures. Each procedure can have multiple returning types. Each one is represented by this struct. Returning type is deduced by processing types field from left to right. Example type means return type. And return type list means a list of integer values. Great. Deprecated. We also have to document this, but let's just go and document the abort stuff. Just copy this comment for now, just to showcase. Return true. If the currently executing procedure should abort as soon as possible. Great. If I run this, then I'll get memgraph, and I have the code here. Return true if the current executing procedure should abort as soon as possible. Boom. We have that as well. Okay. That's more or less it. When it comes to coding for today, I think I showcased a lot. And also, yeah, let's go back a bit. I just mentioned that will actually showcase how these procedures are now implemented and used. So we have that init module macro, which is used to register procedures, and we have these two procedures. So the add read procedure, which is the end-to-end test procedure for now. We have to add more stuff inside just to be sure that everything is working. And also we have another procedure which is more or less used for these default values and registering optional arguments. And then we have the actual implementation of that procedure, which is, I think, very straightforward. So we have the actual name, that will be used, that should be used from within Memgraph. We have like Memgraph object that can be used to add records and like return values to Memgraph and then back to the client at the end. And also we can fetch these arguments and like move them, use them in our execution. The C string is a bit verbose. but I think it's good because it's correct and it enforces user to use the right string, at least the one that is supported by Memgraph. And also the MGP value stuff is kind of required here. Yeah, maybe a comment here. Here I wanted to use let me value. Here I wanted to define the from value stuff, from value trait, and implement that trait, but the problem is that from value gets only the value object and nothing else. And the problem with that is because value is like an enum in our case, we cannot pass a value doesn't have on the top level, doesn't have the memgraph object, which is required to create MGP value. And that's not like simple. And then I think it's better to avoid that at this point. But yeah, that's what it is. What else? How much time? Yeah, it's already hour and a half. I think I'll stop here. But yeah, maybe just to showcase. So I've already uploaded crates.io. So crates.io is an amazing site with all these packages. It really has a bunch of downloads and a bunch of packages here. So RSMGP system. We have that already available, so you can use this this module already and download it and use it to build these procedures for Memgraph. We actually have some downloads, which is great. Now, since I've added a bunch of stuff, I'll try to publish actually that module. Okay, just a second. And before that, I have to commit, and I have to also but I don't have the. Yeah, I'll try to push that and build that for my other PC here. Just to have that as well available. So give me a second. So no. This should build and test. This should work. And I have to change the cargo. So I have to change the version to, let's say, version 4. This works. This should work. Get. Okay. If I add all this. So I have added these macros. I've added these things here. I've removed the field type. This is good. We have the new procedure. We bumped the version. We added the function to resolve MGP type, which is private. That's all. That also makes sense. Here is the documentation for this. I refactored this a bit, and I added this. This is test. This is snafu message, which is also fine. This is fine. Yeah, that's all. That all sounds good. Everything went well here. Git commit add required and optional arcs plus add required and optional arcs plus must abort. Of course, I've made a mistake here. I can simplify. Yeah, definitely. I want to do that. So memgraph. So here, instead of huh. What equals 0? Hopefully this is gonna that's gonna fly as well. And yep. Amend under the same commit message. Get log. Yeah, okay. Get push. That's now should be here. I'll just quickly publish that from the repo where I have credentials. Just give me a second. So okay. So now just basically when you are connected to the cargo to the crates.io, you just type cargo publish, and that will be and the crate will be automatically published. So for example, from here cargo publish, but that's gonna fail because yeah, no token, and yeah, I have to log in. Now I won't do that just for the sake of time. But yeah, it says that cargo, like the documentation is public, the crate is public. So if we reload this, yep, we have the version 1.4 already available. And yeah, with these better support for arguments and all these things included. All right, that's more or less it. My plan is to work a bit more today and polish all these things, especially write the documentation and polish the documentation more, and also test a little bit more the whole thing, and then we are more or less done with the whole Rust query modules, which is a great success. I thought it's gonna be a bit faster, but yeah, it took a lot of time and a lot of energy, but I'm really happy with the results. Hopefully this is gonna be useful to a lot of the developers. I'm really excited about that part, and yeah, feel free to test it out. Give any feedback you can give. I would really appreciate that. That would mean a lot. Yeah, for the next time. Yeah, in addition to all that, I'll also write a quick blog post about explaining like the final version of everything. But yeah, next Saturday I'll do the live stream, but I don't plan to work on the query modules. I'll probably finish the work on the Rust client, since I'm in the whole Rust, let's say, phase. I'll try to use that context as much as possible and actually port the RSMG client to the latest version of MG client, because it also depends on the C code. So that will be I think next time the topic, and that shouldn't take that much time as Rust query modules. So hopefully that's gonna be done next time as well. All right. If you have any question or any suggestion, anything like that, just put a comment somewhere or ping me wherever you can. I'll happy to answer. And yeah, please share these and subscribe. That means a lot. And yeah, have a good rest of the weekend. And yeah, take care and bye bye.